Well, blessings all around, everybody. Welcome to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm your host, Lady JB Owen, and I'm super happy to be here despite having a little bit of a sore throat. I hope it's okay with all of you that I sound a little raspy today. And, it was interesting because there was a part of me this morning when I wasn't feeling well and I had been sick all night and I had the shakes and the fever. Maybe I don't need to show up. Maybe I could just call it in. Maybe I could just be unwell today until I realized how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if I didn't show up today, I might miss exactly the person that needs to hear our message today. I have a fantastic guest who I absolutely adore, and I know this is going to be a fantastic episode. And so, of course, I'm showing up to show each and every one of you that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you really want to grow and make an impact and do something that is pushing you beyond your limits, you got to push beyond your limits. And so please forgive me today if there's a little bit of coughing and a little bit of a sore throat, but I'm here for you. I'm here to share with you ways that we can ignite humanity all over the planet. Things are unfolding. And the truth is, each and every one of us have the power, the ability, the capabilities to make a huge impact in our lives and the lives of others. We can create a ripple effect. And I believe we do that by sharing our authentic selves, by truly being real, by breaking down those walls and that pretension, just like me telling you I'm not doing so great today physically, but I'm here in spirit 100% because today is Tuesday and it's all about awakening. How can we awaken? How can we awaken to new ideas, new principles, new concepts? How can something be told to us? How can something be shared that just moves things in a slightly different minutia that causes this massive ripple effect? And I know that there's this great analogy of a boat leaving New York Harbor headed to England, but it gets off course by 1 degree and it ends up in Morocco. So this over time, being on a new trajectory can create a huge change in the outcome. And that's what we want to do on the show is we want to give you things to inspire you to make that tiny little pivot, that tiny little shift in your energy, shift in your ideas, so that over time, there's this huge, massive ripple effect. And the ripple effect is what is going to ignite humanity. Well, we love coming to you every Monday to Friday. And if you're missing any of our episodes or you want to check out some of our other guests, please go on over to our platform, Ignite Humanity Live /watch. And you can see all of our episodes. They are 100% free and available to you. They're on our VOD channel. We do them on Facebook. We show them on YouTube. We make sure no matter where you are, you have access to this content, and we make it 100% free. It's my mission to make sure that every single person on the planet has access to the tools that they need to ignite their lives. And that's why we show up each and every day. And we're also helping kids in schools. We are very, very committed to building schools to ignite literacy and empower children. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, please go to ignitehumanity.life /donate. That's right. So the end of May, we will be traveling to Indonesia to build our first 2 classrooms in Lombok. We are so excited. The Ignite Possibilities Classroom of Hope and the Ignite Humanity Classroom of Hope. This has been a big initiative for us, and we want to thank all of our donors. And Classroom of Hope is our partner. They are building eco-friendly blocks made out of plastic, pulled out of the landfills and converted into these wonderful blocks that fit together to make these beautiful schools. And we are committed to this project. So if you want to help out, every single dollar buys a block. And so we would love to have you help us. All right, well, let's check out our first and amazing guest. Mr. Val Jon Farris is an award-winning author and leadership consultant to Fortune 100 companies around the world. For over 30 years, he has championed large-scale workforce transformation, as well as conducted personal growth programs for over 40,000 people. Val Jon is well known for his warm, anecdotal style and deep insight into personal sovereignty, freedom, and higher consciousness. The very first time we met, he actually showed me that he has a really cool program that he calls Ignite, and we call our program Ignite. And so the synergy between us is fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Val Jon to the show.
Hey, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time is in your space.
Yeah, it's beautiful, right? Because the beauty of the internet and the beauty of this show is that we can reach people all over the globe. And I want to share with you and say thank you publicly to everyone. When we first met, there were some really fabulous concepts that you awakened me to that I hadn't really heard before. Some things that you were talking about, a geocentric community, some of the things you learned from Buckminster Fuller, some of these new ideas about transcendence. I was like, wow, I was so touched and inspired by you. And I just want to say thank you because you've awakened me in many, many ways. And I know you're going to do great things for our guests.
Well, that's great. Well, you're a mirror for me as well, JV. So I'm privileged to be here and looking forward to our short chat and leaving people with something of value, something that they can tangibly use and really look for within themselves. So I'm excited about our conversation, and let's see where it goes.
Thank you. Well, let's dive in. What is a concept that you feel that really humanity needs to start grappling with or embracing or pulling forward so that we can have this better world, better future that we're all really aspiring for?
Sure. I like your story about Morocco, and I I have been there, and it's a beautiful place. And also, I like the part about maybe being on the wrong boat and winding up in a different location, because this happened to me. I actually thought I got on the wrong ship to be able to go, and the fear that was there was very interesting because it led me to a place of, well, can I really trust the process of life? Can I trust myself? Can I trust the boat? Can I trust the destination? And I think for me, one of the biggest things that people can really open to, if they're willing to really look more deeply, is that the fears that we have are actually the vehicle that leads us to our own greatness and to our own strength. And the way we deal with fear either creates panic, and that's when
Right.
we fear our fear, or when we embrace our fear, it actually leads us into a deeper place where we become in more control and actually have more capability than we ever thought we could while we were afraid.
I so agree with you. So a few years ago, I took my kids out of school and decided to travel to 11 countries doing charity work, just me and my kids, single mom. So many people were like, "Are you crazy? You can't do that." But I got into so many situations that I had to figure out how to get out of. I had to strategize. I had to, get on the bus, translate the languages, make sure I got off at the right place. And I tell people all the time, I felt like that trip really allowed me to put on my superhero cape and realize that even though you're afraid of something, you are your best advocate. And when
Yeah.
you push through your fears, you do deeply empower yourself, and those fears really dissipate.
Yeah, it's really true. And that's one of the reasons why I respect and admire you so much is, waking up and having a sore throat and being able to speak about it openly and move beyond it, because I don't notice it at all. And I think
Thank you.
by the
It's that
fact of
thing you
you.
just turn on and you just go. Like you get so excited about the conversation. So thank you so much. And I love this community because I can be honest and vulnerable. I could show up and pretend, or I can say, like, folks, I'm just like you. We're going through the same stuff together.
Exactly. And that's, I think, the thing that really kind of bonds us most is that it's not that we're comfortable with vulnerability, it's that we respect vulnerability, and we realize that it's a vehicle that can lead us to a deeper place within ourselves. And I think that, having spent 35 years in the corporate world working with Fortune 100s, I learned a lot from people, and also in my public workshops where people come to really take themselves on and press beyond their limitations. And what I learned is that there's a greatness and a strength that exists inside of all of us, and some of us are more in touch with it than others. And the process of getting to that stronger, deeper, clearer place requires that we be humble, that we be vulnerable, and that we're willing to share our authentic selves, whether we think we're great or whether we think we're terrible or whether we think we're less than or better than, to start with where we really are. Because when we can start with where we really are, we can get to where we really want to be.
It's a really good point because sometimes I guess the ego comes in or the mirror shows up and we're kind of like, well, that's not me, or I don't do that, or that's them, or it's all about them. And it is really true that when you decide, like, okay, what's my role in this? How did I show up in here? How can I be different in this situation? You actually find out so many other possibilities. We talk about raising the consciousness of possibilities in one of our
Yeah.
first principles. But do you find that people are reluctant to take ownership over some of life's challenges because we've somewhat been conditioned to believe, well, that's been done to us and we can't do anything about it. The government has decided, or this is happening, or
Yeah.
we can't do anything. Can you speak to that, because you've
Yeah.
been so inspiring that we have the power to transcend change? bend reality in our own existence.
Yeah. Well, the circumstances in life can be everything from very challenging to terrible to troubling to wonderful. And the circumstances are always going to be what they are. The the real power, I believe, is in not resisting the circumstances as they're showing up. That when we fight against what's happening or we make negative conclusions about what's happening, this is where we actually disempower ourselves. So the key, I think, is very simple. It's to be our own best friend, especially when the circumstances are most challenging, are most troubling. And it's probably one of the biggest things I think people have trouble with is they're really good at being friends with others, but in terms of being their own best friend, there's some shortcomings. And it has to do with self-criticism, with judgment. It has to do with comparing ourselves to others. It has to do with fooling ourselves into thinking that we don't have the power to intervene into the circumstances that we have and begin to slowly shift them into the circumstances that we really want.
Do you have some tools that you suggest to people? Because I've often said, people have asked me, like, how, do you achieve your success? And I say, I'm just like everyone else. I have the negative voice. I have the naysayer, but I just turn that switch down. Like, I just turn that volume switch down and turn up this other one that says, go try, make an effort, uncover, discover, be a good student. You and I talked about being a good student of life.
Yeah.
Do you have some tools for the people who are like, Val Jon, how do I do that?
Yeah, well, I think that you just answered part of it is being a good student. I may have taught a lot of people over the years, but really I have never forgotten to be a really good student, because only good students can be good teachers. And the more I'm willing to learn, the more people can learn from me. And the other thing is, we get so caught up in our status or in our circumstances, and we either think we are somebody very special or we think we're nobody and not enough. And both of those are very extreme, because somewhere in the middle, I think, is the reality of who we are, which is that we're human beings. We have good points, we have bad points, we have strengths, we have weaknesses. But what all of us can do, and I think one of the most fundamental tools is, like I said, to start where you are. If you're feeling bad, go ahead and feel it, but don't just stay stuck there. Move on up into the next space, because life is really about movement. And whether you're moving up or down or sideways or forwards or backwards, it really doesn't matter, because it's really a full circle kind of process where the worst things that have ever happened to me in my life really later became my own best blessings. And I think trusting the process is another very important tool, that when we can trust that what's going on for us may seem terrible or challenging or awful in the moment, but there's a plan going on. And I'm not suggesting that it's always going to turn out better, because that's not always the case, but it's always going to turn out exactly the way it does. And we have the opportunity to be able to be with what is exactly the way it is. And inside that what isness, there is a powerful sense of joy and gratitude and belonging and placement that can't be replaced by any kind of tools or process that one would ever try to teach themselves, because it already exists deep inside of all of us. All we need to do is be willing to step aside, push our ego aside, and say, come on out and show yourself to me and show yourself to the world.
I love that so much, because the isness, and I've talked about this, the isness or the oneness is really, it's like the universe. If you're not getting it, if you're not realizing, the universe will kind of smack you upside the head and give you another thing, and like one more time, and oh, you didn't get it the first time, let me even like up the ante. I love to call those ignite moments. I love to refer to those as this ignition point, that you're right. In the moment, it doesn't seem so great, but over time, when you can look back on it in hindsight, you can really notice, like, I'm so glad that happened, because stagnation never works for any living organism. There's nothing that needs to be stagnant. And we sometimes as humans aspire for this end point thinking like, and I get there, I'm done, I'm good. But it really isn't, because then the next thing unfolds and the next thing. Can you share how, this idea of evolution is really fundamentally encoded in us?
Yeah, well, I'd like to share by actually sharing an Ignite moment if I
Yes,
could.
yes, yes, and
Okay.
yes.
All right, I'm gonna do a quick version because we have a short amount of time. But I think the biggest thing for me about this whole process is how humble can I be when I want to be arrogant? How vulnerable can I be when I want to be defended? How loving can I be when I want to be resentful? How happy can I be when I'm sad? And a number of years ago, I did a mountain climb where a lot of these questions got brought up for me. And it was a climb of a 14,000-foot mountain, and it was an ice climb. And this is a very dangerous climb. And there were 33 of us who got together and practiced for months and months and months, because the danger of this climb was immense, because there's crevasses and fissures and all kinds of deadly things that can happen when you have ice crampons, these little pokey things on the bottom of your boots, and you're climbing up where you can't see. You're in a blizzard kind of situation. We were up at 11,000 feet, and I was a pretty good climber, and I was well familiar with all of my equipment. But we had just traversed above a huge fissure, crevasse, a crack in the ice. You could look down and see blackness down at the bottom of the white. That's how deep it was. And we had just traversed, and we're zigzagging up above, probably 100 feet or so above the crevasse. And the ice crampon, the pokey tool on the bottom of my left foot popped loose, and I lost my footing, and I flipped upside down, and I started sliding down towards the crevasse. And it was white terror, and I was going to die. And I remember my life fleeting before my eyes. I couldn't stop with my ice axe. I was going so quick. It was hard, solid ice, and it was white terror. And all of a sudden, something smacked on my back, and something felt hard. It hit against me. And my climb team, 6 of my climbers that were down below me, made a human net, and they caught me about 5 feet before I careened over the edge into the crevasse. I remember being stunned, laying there, looking up, and seeing these faces looking down at me. And most of the guys had beards and goggles, so they looked like they were from another planet. But they were a godsend to me because they had just saved my life. But the thing that was very interesting, JB, was I was talking about vulnerability and humility. Well, I've been a rugged individual in my life, and I'm really good at being able to give contributions and service to other people. But when it comes to making a contribution to me, it's not always the easiest thing in the world. But in this moment, these guys saved my life. And I remember fidgeting around and trying to stand up. And they were saying, okay, VJ, just relax. Let us take care of you. We can put your gear back on and everything's gonna be fine. I said, oh, and you know what I said? I said, thanks, guys. I can take it from here. So this is here's that rugged individual I was telling you about, right? This ego that gets in the way, who wants to be the strong one. And, and I kept fidgeting around. And finally, my climbing buddy, Hank, said, Val Jon, if you keep trying to do this yourself, you're going to push us all over the edge and you're going to kill us all. Mm. And that cracked me open. It was like solid ice cracked wide open, and my vulnerability opened, my defendedness cracked open. And I noticed in that moment that if I kept doing what I was doing, I was going to kill these people. And that was enough for me. And it really was an Ignite moment where the flames of humility and the reality of being open to people supporting me burned who I was not away. And it dropped like melting ice down onto the snow and into the abyss. And I relaxed and let these people save my life. And when I looked into their faces, JB, what I saw was all the people in my life who've ever tried to help me, and how defended I've been, and how much I didn't want to receive their support because I didn't want to be a burden to them. But the truth is, I didn't want to feel obligated, and I didn't want them to see the weaknesses that I had underneath the strength. And And I realized how much I've ripped people off of being able to make contributions to me, and particularly this group of people who risk their own lives to save mine. And could I be this arrogant to not let them have that experience? And that's what really ignited me in that moment. It changed my entire life. And I remember they stood me up, and just how men hug each other. They hug each other like orca whales. And so there's this joy that happened. And the real ignite moment happened at 14,119 feet at the summit of Mount Shasta. And I remember under the Northwest Crag, there's a register book. In all great mountains, there's a book where climbers can make dedications. And I remember the ceremony of the book going around. I remember opening the book after this climb, standing at the summit there, and I read a quote from a young climber, and this was years ago that he had climbed the mountain, and it went something like this. I'll paraphrase it. He said, "Father, today I'm standing at the top of Mount Shasta, and it's because of your love and your support and your courage that I was able to climb this mountain today. And although you lost your legs in the Korean War and you were never able to stand beside me as you were supporting me, Father, today I want you to know that I climbed this mountain for both of us. I love you with all of my heart and all of my soul, your son, Michael." And I remember closing the book and standing up, looking over the edge of the earth. And it brought me to it ignited tears in me, but they were tears of joy and gratitude and appreciation, and tears of humbling myself and making a vow that for the rest of my life, I was going to do my best to be open, to let people support me, and to show my vulnerability, because there's strength when we show our vulnerability. It shows that we're human and that we're not better than anyone else, and that all of us can struggle, but we can all climb together, and we can all let each other support each other. We can all do something to allow people to make the contributions that we're all here to really make. And so I think that was one of many ignite moments of my life, and it touched me deeply, and I hope it touched you and our
I
audience.
love it. What a great story. And
but I also want to say that
I was there with you. Like, you took me right there. I felt it.
If it did touch you, though, it's not that I told a great story. It's that greatness exists inside of you. That if you're touched, it means that you have that vulnerability. You have that courage and that strength, and you don't have to climb a mountain or almost die like I did in order to have an ignite moment. It could be something as simple as going to your loved one and say, I'm sorry for being so stubborn or so arrogant, or looking in the mirror and saying, I'm sorry for questioning myself, and I'm going to be my own best friend again, and getting yourself back on the boat to Morocco.
And that is the power of an ignite moment, because we can layer in our own experiences. You can tell the story. And what I love is also ignite moments are instantaneous. It's like flicking a switch. It's not necessarily this slow, gradual burn. It's like you, in that moment, you're like, I was doing it this way, and I'm going to do it this way going forward from now on. So powerful. Beautiful story. Fantastic. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, the good news is we're going to talk to you again later in the week. But folks, if you want to know more about what Val Jon is doing, you can find out. He has some incredible programs, incredible trainer, does some wonderful things in Mexico, and is really an inspiring individual to be around, as you can tell. Val Jon, thank you so much for being on Ignite Humanity Live, and I'll let our guests know about you sharing on our other show, Legacy Lounge. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Blessings. So that's the power of an ignite moment. Just that sharing, that wonderful story, that 8-minute story that Val Jon shared, I hope transformed you, especially those men out there who feel like you can't have help, or you don't need to ask for support, or you need to brush it off when somebody saves your life. It's so important to be a good student for yourself. Help yourself to recognize that there are people there for you. You want to trust the process. Be happy when you're feeling sad. Be humble when you're feeling arrogant. There were so many great tidbits in Val Jon's story. And the exciting thing is he is one of our legends. That's right. On Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, we do another show called The Legacy Lounge. And this this is where I bring my legends and the people who are creating legacy onto a show and really showcase the idea of legacy. We all have to be building a legacy so that we can support humanity as we go forward. And so Val Jon's going to be on our Thursday night show. If you want to check out the legacylounge.life, you could get a backstage pass to that very important program and be a part of what we're doing and see more, hear more, and learn more from Val Jon, because he has some great stuff to share. All right, well, we love being at Ignite Humanity Live, and we want you to always hang out and see what we're up to. So go to our website, ignitehumanity.live, and see the book series that we're doing, the movie, the docu-series, our incredible donations and schools that we're building. And I'd love to invite you to check out our magazine. That's right, we are taking these interviews and we are transforming them into a beautiful video magazine. So this is something really cool, a digital magazine that has an incredible article based on our episode, and then the video of the episode is embedded into the magazine. So you can go to ignitehumanity.life/library and get a copy of the Ignite Humanity magazine. Again, all free to you. And why are we doing it? Well, because here's the thing. We've been blessed. So many of us have been blessed. I feel blessed. I feel very, very gracious for all the people that I get to meet and the incredible stories that I get to be a part of. And I feel like it's my duty to share those stories with you, so that that ICE story or something you heard yesterday or another Ignite moment that somebody shared helps you realize that if he can do it, I can do it. If they can get there, I can get there also. And I want you to feel ignited in your life, because when you empower yourself, you empower somebody else, and you empower them to empower themselves. And that, folks, is going to really create this wonderful ripple effect. Well, we recently lost one of our team members, and I just want to share with you, and I want to honor Danya one more time. Danya Safar was a big part of Ignite. She has been a big contributor and a major individual in our team. She was recently taken in a fire, and we have decided to build a school in her name. So if you want to be a part of a project that really means dear to my heart and is a part of something, DanyaSafarMemorial.com, you can help us build a school. We're going to Pakistan, where Danya's parents are from, and helping building a school there for children who really, really need it. I heard some statistic, 200,000 children are not going to school in Pakistan, and that they are just looking for some help and support, education, and inspiring lives. So if you want to be a part of that, please go to that website and you can donate. And of course, if you want to be on our show and tell us your Ignite moment, please do so. Go to ignitehumanity.life/share, fill out our type form, and we could reach out to you and have you on the show, and you could be sharing your Ignite moment with so many individuals. All right, well, big hugs and kisses. I hope you enjoyed, and wherever you are in the world, show up, step up, decide that how you show up, do one thing is how you show up and do everything. What do you want to be known for? How do you want to be remembered? And put that into play every single day. All right, take care. Big blessings to you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.